Welcome, architects and engineers. Today, we are diving into Deep Q networks, or DQN. For years, traditional reinforcement learning was limited to small state spaces because it relied on tabular Q learning. As system architects, you know that real-world state spaces are effectively infinite. DQN changed the game in 2013 by replacing the Q table with a deep neural network. This allows us to approximate the optimal action value function in high-dimensional environments, such as raw pixel data or massive telemetry streams. We are essentially moving from a lookup table to a nonlinear function approximator, enabling agents to handle complexity that was previously unsolvable. This sets the foundation for autonomous systems that can optimize infrastructure and complex logistics in real time. To understand DQN, we must first master the Bellman equation. At its core, the equation decomposes the value of a state action pair into the immediate reward plus the discounted future value. In DQN, we minimize the difference between the current Q value and the target Q value, often called the temporal difference error. For architects, think of this as a recursive optimization problem. We use a discount factor, gamma, typically around 0.99, to weigh immediate gains against long-term stability. The goal is to converge on a policy where the agent maximizes the cumulative reward over time. Without this mathematical grounding, our neural network is just guessing without a compass. One of the biggest hurdles in training stable neural networks for RL is the temporal correlation of data. In a standard stream, consecutive frames are nearly identical, which causes the network to overfit and oscillate. DQN solves this using an experience replay buffer. We store transitions, state, action, reward, and next state into a large FIFO buffer, often containing 1 million samples. During training, we sample a mini batch of 32 or 64 transitions at random. This randomization breaks the correlation and mimics the independent and identically distributed data requirement of supervised learning. From an infrastructure perspective, this buffer is your primary memory constraint, requiring careful allocation. In vanilla Q learning with neural networks, the values we are trying to predict are used to update the same network, leading to a chasing your own tail effect. DQN introduces a second network, the target network. While the policy network is updated every step, the target network's weights are kept frozen. Every C steps, perhaps every 10,000 iterations, we sync the weights from the policy network to the target network. This provides a stable ground truth for the loss calculation. For a software architect, this is analogous to a read-replica strategy, where we update the master but read from a stable, slightly lagged secondary to maintain consistency during high-velocity writes. The standard DQN architecture, as applied to Atari games, uses a specific convolutional neural network (CNN) structure. It starts with an input of 4 stacked frames to capture velocity. This passes through 3 convolutional layers to extract spatial features, followed by fully connected layers of 512 units. The output layer has a size equal to the number of possible actions, where each node represents the Q value for that specific action in the current state. For system designers, the throughput of this inference pipeline is critical. When scaling this globally, the latency between the agent perceiving the state and the network outputting an action must be minimized to maintain real-time control. Training the DQN involves minimizing the mean squared error, MSE, between our prediction and the Bellman target. Our loss function focuses on the difference between the current policy network's output and the target calculated by the target network. We use optimizers like RMSprop or Atom, with a learning rate typically around 0.00025. This gradient descent process adjusts the weights to slowly pull the Q values toward their true values. As architects, you must monitor the loss and average Q metrics. If average Q explodes while loss remains high, your network might be diverging. Proper weight initialization and gradient clipping are essential to keep these dynamics within operational bounds. How does the agent discover new strategies? We use an epsilon-greedy strategy. Initially, epsilon is set to 1.0, meaning the agent takes 100% random actions to explore the environment. Over the first 1 million steps, we decay epsilon linearly to 0.1 or 0.01. Once decayed, the agent mostly exploits what it has learned, but retains a small chance of trying something new. This is a classic load balancing problem. How much new traffic, exploration, do we send to untested paths versus known good paths, exploitation? In production systems, maintaining a non-zero epsilon allows the agent to adapt to drifting environments or changes in infrastructure behavior. Scaling DQN to production requires a robust infrastructure. The standard Apex or distributed DQN pattern involves multiple actors running on separate CPU instances, collecting experiences and pushing them to a centralized learner running on high-end GPUs. The experience replay buffer can be distributed across a Redis cluster to handle the massive throughput of transitions. For 10-minute deep dives, consider that a single GPU learner can ingest data from hundreds of actors. This decoupling of experience collection from gradient optimization allows you to scale horizontally. Managing the network bandwidth between actors and the centralized buffer is the primary bottleneck in these ultra-scalable designs. To push performance, we use double DQN and dueling DQN. Double DQN addresses the overestimation bias inherent in Q-learning by using the policy network to select the action and the target network to evaluate it. Dueling DQN changes the network architecture by splitting the last layers into two streams, one for the state value and one for the advantage of each action. These are then combined at the end. For architects, this is a lesson in modularity. By decomposing the value function, the agent learns which states are inherently good without having to learn the effect of every action in that state, significantly speeding up convergence in complex environments. Deploying DQN at scale involves more than just a trained model. You need a high-availability inference loop. We wrap the model in a microservice, typically using TorchServe or TensorFlow serving, and deploy it behind a load balancer. For global scaling, you might use edge inference, where the DQN agent lives close to the data source to minimize latency. Monitoring concept drift is vital. If the environment rewards change, the agent's performance will degrade. Implementing an automated retrain and deploy pipeline ensures that your DQN agent evolves with your infrastructure. Mastery of DQN is not just about the code, but about the robust system that supports it.